At Your podcast contains adult themes and language. It's not intended for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Now, here's your hosts, Kevin and Chris, with Todd, who has only one job.
And we're back, episode 204 of Coming At You podcast. I'm Christopher Scott. This is my good friend Bullet. This is Toddy. We got our good friend Wilson Hayes, and coming at you. Let's do a shot real quick. Let's get the party started.
Watch their face, Wilson.
I don't make a face.
Watch Todd's face.
Todd makes a face.
Watch Todd's face.
Watch Todd make his face.
Ready? Watch.
You know what? I'm gonna man up. Watch this, boys.
Damn. Like nothing.
Jesus, that's so horrible.
Oh, it's so good when it
You're
touches your lips.
Such a woman.
Yum.
You know what, Wilson? That's disgraceful too. You get punched in the face for money, and you can't drink whiskey.
So who's the show brought to us by?
Seriously?
Yeah, bro.
The show is brought to us by Philly Comedy Club. This Friday night they have Nord Davis from Comedy Central's Last Week Tonight. Also featuring Reg Conquest and Jocelyn Chia. There should be there's a show at 7:30 and 9:30. You can use the code Coming At You Podcast CYA or CAY Pod for discounted tickets.
You know, CYA.
Show is
And
also
you
brought to
CAY.
us by Extreme Cage Combat.
Looking good, Helen.
Actually, February 17th is going to be the next event.
Where's it going to be?
It's going to be at the Philadelphia Armory. I just found out today. I talked to Ryan. Also brought to us by Netflix.
Yeah, they're moving The Punisher. The Punisher starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
So when people hear this for the first time, they may be...
They may be balls deep in Punisher.
I watched the first 4 episodes, and it was awesome.
Sounds illegal.
I didn't watch the first 4 episodes.
Also brought to us by...
Fleshlight.
Fleshlight.
Fleshlight. It's the best $80 you'll spend.
Stitcher Smart Radio.
Smartest way to listen to radio on or off the radio.
Rest Tattoo.
For all your tattoo needs.
Also brought to us by Dads and Cargo Shorts.
That's right.
Let's get this fucking party started.
I think we already got it started.
This guy with his phone.
Fucking social media machine over
Dude,
here.
he's texting everybody that he's on the show.
I'm going to pour
I'm so
Wilson
excited.
an adult beverage here.
Letting people know.
Are you letting people know?
People know.
So you just flew in, hour and a half ago?
A couple hours ago.
Okay.
Couple hours. No, actually, it was overnight. You know, I'm still like,
Oh,
no.
okay.
So I got
So you got here this morning?
So supposedly got here at 5:30 a.m. But then I missed my first flight at LAX.
Classic
Still
Wilson.
got to get you a little bit closer. Maybe slide your chair up a little bit.
Yeah. So then, yeah,
Classic Wilson. Missed
Yeah.
his flight.
missed my first flight. And then I got fucking. I was gonna get a straight flight to Philly.
Right.
Instead, got a fucking connection in Fort Lauderdale, and then came to Philly. Supposed to got here at 5:30. I got here like a noon.
Did you sleep the whole ride?
Kind.
That's your thing, right? Like when you get on those long flights, you sleep?
What I like now, I've been doing like pretty often, is just like overnight flights. This guy, you just like sleeping, get here like whatever you get to, you get in the morning,
Right.
and then just have a normal day.
Yeah.
Go train.
But this,
Yeah.
this is the most we've seen you in a long time.
I know.
I mean, a couple weeks ago, he flew in for an event, flew home the same day, actually left that same night,
Yeah.
and I saw pictures of him on Facebook that he's at a wedding. I'm like, oh, that's cool. He flew back for a wedding. And then the next day he texted me. He's like, dude, what's everybody doing? And I'm like, where are you at? He's like, I'm back.
I'm back.
Do you got like a lot of frequent flyer miles? Do you have like, do they like you, the airline people?
Not really. I wish.
Do you fly?
Like when so everything started like when I saw the guys from BJJ United, and then they're all fighting the fight man.
Right.
Super fight. And I said, man, I gotta get on them, man. All my friends, all my teammates were fighting, So I called Jared, my friend and owner of BJJ United. He said,
Right.
Say, man, try to get me a fight, like I'll fight whoever,
It doesn't matter.
And, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be in the fucking.
That was a
show,
good match too, by the way.
Yeah. So then then they find somebody. They find like a Brazilian guy, but the guy never showed up. Supposedly missed his flight like 3 times.
And,
Bitch.
and who was the guy that you did wind up fighting?
Can't spell his name, but I can't say his name either because I don't know.
It was like a Russian name or something like that, if I
Yeah,
remember right.
something
But
like that.
but Wilson was working like a rolling Kimura that he's been
Yeah.
working on for a while, and he had this dude.
Almost got it.
This dude's arm was cranked. Like you could
Yeah.
see all the ligaments in his
Fuck.
arm. That's how hard it was
He was
twisted.
like strong, man.
Yeah,
In the
but nice event though.
in the world famous ECW arena.
Yes,
That's where that was.
it means the most to you though.
That's what it means to me. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's like legendary shit went down there.
Did he watch a lot of wrestling when you guys lived together?
I like, yeah.
Did he ever try to like make you watch it too?
Nah, he didn't give a shit. He didn't give a shit.
No, I'm asking if he
Hey,
you
man.
tried to pawn it off on him.
I was always trying to watch, like video clips, hip hop on MTV, and
Right.
motherfucker always blocked the channel for me.
He blocked the channels?
No,
He
what I
told
told
me
him
too.
was
That's fucked up.
when he had one of his
You're a
first,
guest- you're a
he
guest
had-
in-
he had some big jiu-jitsu tournament coming up, and I said, if you want
No
MTV
more
Jams,
MTV.
I said you come back with a win and you get your MTV Jams. If you come back with a loss, you don't get your MTV Jams. Listen, so he wins some big fucking tournament and he calls. Not the first thing he says is not I won. He goes, I want my MTV Jams back, motherfucker. I'm like, I guess he won. I'm like, I'll unlock that.
So the fight to win event was pretty cool.
I like
Right?
it. That was a
They've
good
done a
time,
bunch
yeah.
of events.
This is the first one that Wilson was on in Philly.
They're
Yeah.
really impressing me. Like the lights and everything.
Yeah, the quality
It
of
was
it,
really nice.
the stage,
The
everything
people,
about it.
you know, I mean, in any event you're doing theater, man, it's gonna be a fucking party, man. People
Oh, yeah.
love it, you know. So it's
The only
good
thing I
time.
didn't like is all the judges were sitting in the same spot.
I didn't even notice that.
Like I mean, if you win by submission or whatever, like, or if it's close, I think it's a little bit iffy.
Oh, because you're feeding off what other people are.
Well, no. They were all sitting on one side
They're
of the
seeing
stage.
the same
They're
thing.
all seeing the same angle.
Gotcha.
Like
But UFC is like that, so isn't it? Like,
no, they
No,
put them
they're
around the
different.
cage.
Around.
Oh,
Yeah, in different
shit,
spots.
nice.
Yeah.
But like Tiago was rolling and he seemed like he was working the whole time, but from where those dudes were at, they couldn't see it, so he didn't get the nod at the end.
Well, isn't there a referee who scores on the mat or no? It's not like jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, the referee's one of the 3 guys.
Okay, well then he
Yeah,
sees
yeah,
something
yeah.
that they can't see then.
He's the only one that gave it to Tiago. The other 2 didn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But then again, Tiago crushed him at a tournament a few months ago, so that might have been a reason why
If
too.
it was like IBJJF rules,
Right.
I think Thiago would kill him. But then what I like about this event was just the man, like you really have to pressure the guy,
Yeah.
So like
They're short matches, too.
You can really tell that who's the aggressor, So you have to push, and then like in my case, I was really trying hard to get this.
Oh yeah, you were pressuring that dude the whole time.
You double the money, If he's gonna make it like $500, you make $1,000 if you get submission.
Oh
So
really?
it really pushes you to to go after.
Oh yeah, to just get in there and kill. Are you gonna do another one with those guys?
Yeah, man. Let's see.
Do you have a fight set up for?
Show me the money.
Show
bitches.
me the money. I remember one time after jiu-jitsu, he was riding with a friend of ours, Jeff Gonzalez. Remember Jeff?
Oh yeah, I remember Jeff.
And we're at the traffic light, and Wilson rolls down the window and he goes, "Suck my dick." And I'm like, that's so unusual just to say. And he starts to drive away, and I'm sitting there like perplexed with my face. I'm like, he's like, I just learned that. I was like, awesome. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about, and we'll get your input on it too, was some of these like sexual allegations that you see. Do you run into any like famous folks out in LA ever?
Not
Okay, how far from LA? You're still like 3-4 hours, right? 2 hours?
Yeah, San Diego.
Okay. But there's so much shit going around right now with some of these folks.
Do you have any famous people that come and train a little bit on the side?
No, not really. Not with us. Yeah,
You're all business there.
our business.
Yeah. And
But if you pay $5,000 an hour, man, I'll teach anybody.
show me the money.
Show me the money.
My son says hello, Wilson.
Oh man, that's a hello back.
You got it.
The so one of the things like you see in the news all the time now is these sexual allegations. Like was it Harvey Weinstein?
Al Franken just got busted with it.
No.
I saw that he groped some chick like, in 2006. But you don't see all these people. You're not seeing anything.
6, man.
Yeah,
You're
not seeing stuff that happened recently from a lot of these folks.
Because it's a fucking witch hunt. Okay?
Like some of these,
I'm gonna have a very unpopular opinion, but I don't care. Louis C.K. asked those chicks if he could whip his dick out. He didn't just whip it out as a Sunday surprise. He asked them, and then they hung out with him after it happened. But now all of a sudden it's a big fucking deal.
For which guy?
Louis C.K.
Louis C.K.? Yeah, I think it's different as well. If you're going to ask...
There's levels to the shit.
If you're raping somebody, that's clearly wrong.
Like Harvey Weinstein, that's one thing.
Clearly.
If you're pulling a Bill Cosby and you're putting roofies in girls' drinks and you're banging them out left
But
and
that's
right...
what people did back in the 70s.
It's still not acceptable. But if you have some sort of... like, if you say, hey, do you mind if I whip my dick out and I jerk off? Like if you had a form ahead of time and they're like, yes, I agree to this.
My thing is I've got more of like a low-key big hog, like it's not anything impressive until it's at its majesty. And even then it's not impressive. It's like, oh, that's serviceable. Like I can like work with that. So I can't ever envision me just going, hey.
Out. But you're also the same guy that anytime he gets naked in front of anybody, he has to get full chub or half chub.
Half so it seems like I've got like a little bit of a bigger hog. So, like I've got more hog meat to work with than I really do.
Like when you've been in a relationship with somebody, do you feel the urge to chub up every time you're getting changed and stuff?
Well, no. No, it's kind of like a magic trick. I don't like to get naked in front of women.
Ever?
And I'm at the point now that I could be out in the snow and everything is shrunk up. I
don't even care.
I don't care.
I'm just going to try to get warm.
No.
But I was going through the list.
I'm amazed that I've ever been laid, so I don't want to ruin it by them saying like,
Here's some of the stuff that came out. October 5th is when it kind of started. Harvey Weinstein raped 3 girls, right, over the course of the years.
He even ate some pussy when it was like, period.
Yeah, like bloody pussy.
Bloody.
But, and one of the things that
that
we're still waiting for is like.
So that's like wrong.
Have you ever? Look, I don't know how they do it in Brazil. All right, look, I'm not saying I don't like a little sauce on my steak.
This is also the guy when we were out at a restaurant one time. He ordered jumbo shrimp, like pick and peel, and he ate them with the legs and everything on. I'm like, you're supposed to peel that shit. He's like, oh, that's not how we do it.
No, but it's not wrong. It's not illegal.
It's no. That's definitely not illegal.
It should be. It should be.
I think
no fucking period blood on me.
I think mentally, it's a wrong thing. Like if you're talking to your buddies, like, hey, I just hooked up with this girl.
How about if you're a fighter? You like the blood, like.
Yeah. Oh, you just get in there then. You got to just have a mouthpiece in. That's the only thing. It'll change it.
No.
No.
No. We're talking 2 totally different fucking things.
But he comes from a different culture. It might be acceptable down there, in Brazil.
Okay. I mean,
is it frowned upon? Like if you were in Brazil and you were talking to your buddies?
No, it's not acceptable. No.
Okay, so
you don't go to jail, but
right. Your buddy,
but you should.
Nobody's gonna high five you for doing it. Yeah. So October 5th, Harvey Weinstein. Then some guy. I gotta find some. It was not famous people, but.
It was Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey, right? He when he was in I guess he was like 26 and the kid was 14. He laid on top of him and tried to have sex with him at a party.
Worst excuse ever was, but I'm gay.
Yeah, and everybody was cheering him for being gay. A lot of these names I don't recognize, but
Louis C.K.
jerking off in front of ladies. But again, if you're asking permission and they say no, okay, yeah, you're creepy. But
my point
probably
is,
more of them said, yeah, feel free to do it.
My point is that there are levels to this shit, and it's a very black and white culture nowadays where if you don't agree with me 100% on something, then fuck you. And, people that are doing some weird, creepy shit are treated just like the people that are doing weird, creepy, illegal, fucked up, violent shit. I mean, who's really surprised here? People abusing their power and exploiting it to use it on other people?
I'm not surprised.
That's been happening since the beginning of fucking time.
The thing I want to see, like one of the things with Harvey Weinstein is he promoted a lot of people, made their careers big, right? We want to find out who the people were that accepted that and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to sell my soul and give you this blowjob or have sex to become famous.
Megan Fox was taking fucking headshots from Michael Bay. Why do you think she was in his movies?
What do you mean headshots?
She was fucking dumping loads on her face.
Is that a headshot?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you know that little tidbit?
Stop it.
No, seriously. If you're going to say it, you got to have something behind it.
It's well known.
Who knows?
In the Hollywood circles that I travel amongst. All right?
So Kevin Spacey was one of them, and then Andy Dick. That one didn't surprise me at all.
No.
He was accused of sexual harassment, including groping. Which, groping could be anything. Somebody
groped Terry Crews. You got to be a brave motherfucker to grab Terry Crews'
You know who Terry Crews is?
No.
Big black dude on the Old Spice commercials. He's on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I think I know. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking. He's a comedian.
He's like 6'5",
former
like
football
280.
player.
Yeah.
He's a jacked fucking dude.
And he's all sad now because some dude grabbed his junk.
You're gonna fucking grab that chocolate hog, and you're just like, you gotta be brave.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you grab that dude's
We gotta be
junk,
built like Brock Lesnar.
And
Like
that-
what?
and that dude
What's
gets
up?
angry and punches you in your face, he's just a dude who beats up gay people.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true
So
too.
it's kind of like an invisible shield he's got holding up.
But it's like the whole fighting, be aggressive and everything. Like, it's all about self-defense. That guy, there was self-defense, but the guy just grabbed his thing, so he had to defend himself.
He didn't, yeah. Well, people might not see the part where he got groped, and he's just reacting and punching in the face.
And
Right?
I thought the funny thing with Andy Dick was that he got the guy he groped said he had like 6 months of PTSD from
That's
the
all bullshit.
incident.
That's all
Really?
bullshit.
Yeah.
Have you ever been hit on by a dude?
No.
Have you?
Yeah.
Have you?
No.
I have.
Yes, you
I didn't
have.
take offense to it,
Yes,
though.
you have.
You know what it was? It was him.
Yes,
No, that's
you
somebody
have.
hitting on you. That's not you hitting back.
Stop
That's just
it.
you being the
Remember the
recipient.
remember the
just clarify. I don't want
Do
you
you
to
remember
get
the
upset.
photographer that wanted to take nude photos of you?
Yeah, but he wants to get nude pictures. Like, you don't want to get nude with me.
He wanted to take nude photos of you, Wilson. He was hitting on you. That's
Hey, Bullet.
Come on, then. He tried to take it.
The guy that was hitting on Chris, that was Chris walking through
Oh,
and
yeah.
saw himself in the mirror. And
Chris's
went,
reflection.
Hey.
I'm like, God damn, that dude's handsome. And
Chris's
I realized it was
reflection.
myself. No, I remember I used to hang out with Ken Burkhardt, and his girlfriend managed or bartended at the Fridays in Langhorne. And one day we're sitting there, and a beer comes up in front of me, and I'm like, who's that from? She's like, from that dude down there. And I look down, and he's just like, thank you. I drank it. Yeah, fight.
How big was his dick?
Gigantic. But I know it wasn't getting roofied because the bartender handed it to me, poured it, and she was a friend of mine.
I tell any girl that sticks a roofie in my drink, that's the waste of a perfectly good date rape drug. I will fuck you without
Tina Dean made
it.
a comment about even like getting like pissing in public can label you as a predator.
As a
from-
sexual predator, especially if it's in like a school zone or something
you
like that.
You rape somebody and somebody pees outside is
Yeah, you're the
gonna-
same guy. You're in the same grouping.
Same group.
You got arrested for peeing outside one time back in the day, right? Like when we were like 20.
That's bullshit. It's
So
because
how you call that? What's the name of the offense?
Indecent exposure. Yeah. But
Decent exposure?
indecent.
Indecent.
Indecent, unless you got a big hog and then it's decent.
He was indecent.
wow, Todd's got the small fucking schmeckle there.
No, somebody said they can't hear him. I just want.
Oh yeah, he's just got to stay closer to the
I
mic.
just want to know if it's.
What movie was that? The guy said, man, the guy dropped a name. Said, "Small dick ever seen a man."
Yeah, maybe turn his up a little bit.
I just did.
Okay, well you can't hear because you're not wearing your headphones.
I don't have to wear my headphones.
That's the reason why you have to wear your headphones.
I hear everything.
So, Brett Ratner.
Unfortunately, I hear you. Well, yeah, that's well known too. That he basically got Olivia Munn to fuck him.
So he had rape, sexual assault, harassment of 6 women, including exposing himself and masturbating.
And who was
Yeah.
this guy?
Who's Brett Ratner?
He's a director.
Was he an actor too?
I don't know, but I know he's a director. He
Yeah, I heard
directed
about
some
it.
of the
He's
Rush
a
Hour
big
movies
time
and all.
director,
Yeah.
Well, Gail, he's a producer too, and Gail Godot, that sexy fucking chick. She's Wonder Woman. Oh my God, she's sexy as fuck.
Yeah.
She basically said, "I ain't coming back to do the second one unless he's gone from the fucking. I don't want to produce it."
Do you think it's right next to the microphone? By the way, Todd.
You're fine.
I'm
He's
good.
Thanks.
Yeah, but you're
just making sure.
you have
You know what?
next to your head and then your head next to the microphone.
You know what? But that's because he cares.
He does want. Yeah, he does care.
You know
Well,
what?
if I didn't do it, if I didn't do it, you guys would be. Yelling
Let's
at
just
me.
give Todd a
We're
round of
getting-
applause.
Great job, Todd.
you.
Great job. But how come nobody's come out? There's got to be some female executives with some powers. That
Just slinging their pussies around.
no, like there's got to
savage.
be just some ugly broads that are just like, this is your way to get the job, and probably some dude had to get his Red Wings and make it famous. Don't you think? There's got to be women doing this as well.
There's got to
So in
be.
your lifetime, that ever happened to you?
No.
To you, Bullet?
What's that?
Like you have like a lady that she owns something. You try to get a job, so you have to kind of like please the owner.
Actually, one time I hooked up with a girl that I met at a bar, and she worked at Staples, and she gave me a $25 gift card when I was done.
Not bad.
You whore.
I bought some printed paper and some ink
I
for a job well done.
I fucked a couple customers on the job.
It's not the
Dudes?
point. It's not the point.
Huh?
No. But the point we're talking about is, has anybody ever Wilson's question was,
I don't know. Maybe he used his power as as an installer.
Yeah,
Like,
he's like,
he's
you want HBO?
He's trying to get a job, you know.
Wilson, you
So
want
he
some
has to please
HBO?
the owner.
Call customer service skills.
But have you ever had a woman harass you and
Not that I remember.
but I think
Well, not that you mind it.
I think
Yeah.
I think that's the thing too. Like if it's
Not that I care.
if it's a beautiful woman and she's saying some stuff to you, okay, not so bad, right? But it's like when we look at all these people on the list, like none of these people are attractive people, right?
It boils down to exploiting your position as power, and you're abusing that power. It happens in every profession.
Have you ever been exploited?
Sure.
How?
Okay, so back when I was wrestling, there was
all right, good story.
jeez.
Good story.
There
So
was this-
Wilson.
there was this
Hold on, camera on bullet.
there was this gym. There was
Just
this
camera on bullet.
So back in the day, what you would do is you would find gyms, and they would have boxing or wrestling rings, and you'd have to pay money. You'd have to rent for an hour or two and
To
all.
train?
Yeah, to train. Like, where else are you going to go? It's not like a jiu-jitsu place where you just got mats or whatever you can roll. So some guys really wanted. This is back when guys really wanted to choreograph shit and really plan spots. And there was a place that had a ring in Bristol, and this chick owned the ring.
Is she good looking?
No. And everybody told me, said, you're going to have to take one for the team and fuck this chick. So I'm like, I don't want to do this. And you're like,
Was she
you
hideous?
have to.
Give us a description of what she looks like.
Very bad, yeah.
It was not good. She
She
was,
over 200 pounds.
she was hovering.
Over 3?
No.
Age?
She was young,
Is she in the heavyweight division? Like 205, 265?
firmly in the light heavyweight.
Upper echelon? Does she have to diet to 265?
No,
no,
she's light heavyweight.
no.
Light
She was
Light heavyweight.
Light heavyweight.
But
She's John Jones weight,
Yeah.
but I'm telling you, to this day,
but 5 foot.
next to a grease trap, cleaning a grease trap at a deli, I have never smelled anything so horrible.
Well,
in my life.
tell us how it went down.
Just hanging out at her place, and
How did you get to her place? She's
I
like,
dro-
hey, Bullet, you want to come over and take some new
no,
lessons?
she knew what was up. I was the sacrificial lamb. They sent
How did you
Straight
get
up to smash.
sacrificed?
They sent me over to fuck, and they said, we're sending the young guy over, basically, for payment. He's gonna fucking deliver some hog meat.
But how is she involved in,
For
and
payment.
we're offering Bullet as the fucking
She was
favorite.
like, all right, fine. And I'm like, I don't want to do this.
How tall was she?
She was like a little chick. She was big, brown hair, and she didn't shave. So it was just like
Oh, Jesus.
I go to a florist.
it was.
Did she have like a trail up to her belly button?
It was
Like that
bad.
kind of hair?
The lights were out. And it was dim.
Did you give her special kisses?
I didn't, dude.
What special
I
kisses are
left.
down low,
I
Wilson?
left. I said, yo, I tap out. I can't do it.
You didn't finish the job.
I didn't even get close to starting it.
It sounded like you did because you said she
That's
smelled awful.
Very disappointed.
So was she naked? Did she get naked?
I think
She got
Bullet
naked, and I was like,
banged her.
I can't do it. No, please, this shit I've copped to and admitted to.
Night to his office. That bad?
It was bad.
Damn.
It was bad. Like, I would have to have the concentration of a Navy SEAL to maintain a boner through that kind of hell.
So it sounds like you didn't like your friends that much that you couldn't do that for.
I didn't.
She was American. She was international.
She was American.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
international.
You'd expect that kind of shit from an international, bro.
He's world traveled now, so
for US. USA.
is he international?
Yeah.
That's what we want to know.
No, because you know what? And I've never had that problem with international girls before, though. Ever. Also have you know.
So that's the most disgusting thing.
Oh, I
Like,
hear somebody said that they worked at a casino and they couldn't get a decent shift unless they slept with the manager.
And was that a guy or a
Yeah.
girl?
Guy, yeah, guy or girl.
That was a girl.
I know who that is.
Okay.
Were you the manager?
Yeah. That's Volpe.
No,
It isn't.
no.
Really?
That's
Okay.
but there's got to be some people on the female side of this coin that just
So
fucking.
that was what was that? It was a man.
No, it was a girl. It was a girl who couldn't
She had
get
to
it.
zip to the boss.
But
Yep.
did she do
She
it?
did.
She didn't say.
She
Well,
did.
you know what she
That's
should
a
say.
yes.
She's got it out there in the group chat right there, so she might as well just say if she did it or not.
Who is it?
It's Tina.
Okay.
Oh.
You know what? I think.
And she ended it with, "The struggle is real."
Oh.
She did it.
It's real.
Well, cheers to you and that good shift.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Simply not to get a job.
Hey man, you need weekends off. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
But that's
That ever happen to you, Wilson? Like, are there any like women officials in the UFC that are like, Wilson?
who's that chick with the long ponytail that's just
Oh,
the worst
Jesus.
ref?
Oh yeah,
I
she looks
can't
like
remember.
a bird. Kim.
She's
Yeah,
super
Kim.
tall.
Super
Yeah, bro.
tall.
That never happened to me.
Would you get in there if you had to?
But I'm just saying, like they're like Wilson, like okay, like say you're
Dana White comes up to you and he's
No,
like,
not-
Wilson,
not
you're,
even.
you're gonna have to eat her
No.
asshole for this. one."
yeah, like Dana comes to you and goes, Wilson, look, I'm gonna need you to fuck this chick if you and like I'm not saying this will happen, but if you fuck her, you know your fight
Immediate title
may
shot.
be like the third on the pay-per-view. You might get some pay-per-view points on this if you know, like you're Brazilian, you don't got a problem with eating ass, like you know what I mean? Like, would you do it? And no one would know.
No.
You would do it.
Fuck
You
no.
stop it. You would do it. You would do it.
He would have went. He would have went. Dude, I already did it.
But let me ask you. No, but hold on. Now this is actually a very important question. So if she was like busted, would you do it?
Busting.
Like horrible
Just
looking,
beat up.
very unattractive. Let's just say that.
No.
If she was the most gorgeous fucking girl you've ever seen in your life, would you do it?
No.
Because here's my point.
What if they offered you $10,000?
No. But here's my
No.
point. Here's my point.
11,000.
So here's the thing.
Just keep throwing numbers.
Okay, if you see a guy and he sees a girl and he hits on her, and she says no, and she
You can
doesn't
have
like the way he
You
looks,
can have the rest of that one.
that could be considered sexual
Yeah, that's a good
harassment.
one.
But if he's a good-looking guy and she says yes and he gets those digits, well, then he gets the digits. Then it's not sexual harassment. It's weird. It's like a very slippery slope. Is it not?
this little cute thing. What is that, brother?
See,
Damn, look at that.
Pilsner. Oh, you can have the rest of it.
Is that where you keep your balls?
Yeah, take it. Keep it over there.
Thank
I'm,
you.
you know,
Appreciate it. Very kind of you.
Thank you, buddy.
That's pretty. That's actually pretty cool.
You like that? It's
I
like a
do.
little lunch pail for
Yeah.
beers.
where'd you get that?
I got it at the beer store today.
Which beer store did you get that at?
Golden Beverage. I was walking in and
How much is that
It
thing?
was like $12.
Man, I'm
That's,
trying.
that's actually.
Yeah, I
not
bought it
bad,
for the
no.
can
I
only.
think, I think you guys should get
I'm trying to
sponsored
do
by-
what-
by-
I'm-
by a
Yeah,
beer
actually,
company.
Trent Road Takeout.
I was trying to
will
do
give
the
us some
plug
stuff.
for her, and you fucked it up.
They have something on Saturday. They have
Why sponsors?
they have a tasting and a barbecue on Saturday. at
I'm
Trent Road
sorry.
Takeout.
I tried to hook you up with the spot, but Chris fucked it up.
I was
Do
in
you
a pinch.
Do you want to hear Tina Dean's response?
Yes.
She did not. She stripped instead.
Oh, did the guy
fair,
jerk
that's
off
fair.
in front of her?
No, she just. I don't know. I don't know if they're where she just left that business and.
Can
started
we
stripping.
patch her in? Can she give us a call and talk
Was
about this
Tina
on the
Dean
air?
a stripper?
I'm not sure, but we're gonna get her. on the
We don't
phone
have to
right-
worry about the phone call.
All right.
So,
But
We
that's
have
not-
Wilson
that's-
in here.
That's actually better, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
She just stripped
but
down.
we were talking like a week or so ago. Like I said to Todd, I said for $1 million, would you blow a dude?
Fuck no.
I said I
Toothpaste costs $5. Now look, I'm
Million-
not a mathematician, but that leaves me with, according to my calculations, with
Yeah.
$999,995.
And I said $1 million.
How about your pride, bro?
$1 million
Pride.
is not as much as it sounds.
It's a lot of
See,
money.
look, you
It's
know what?
not.
Hold on. See what he just said? He said pride. This is clearly a person that has never had to work a 9-to-5 day job. My pride's already
Yes, I
been
work
crushed.
for Social, motherfucker.
Yeah, but I've already been crushed. It's already been crushed. It's already been crushed. I got nothing. All I would look at that is go, first of all, I could get, Cinnamon Jr.'s college paid off.
Who's Cinnamon Jr.?
Like Smalls.
That's his
Cinnamon
nickname?
Jr.?
Cinnamon Jr.?
That's
Like
what sometimes.
cinnamon?
Cinnamon Jr. Cinnamon Jr.
You say cinnamon like you say belly button. Belly button. Belly
Belly
button.
button.
Belly button.
You know what? I apologize
never
for him
say
harassing you because he
I
doesn't
never-
know two
I never
languages.
say the word world. No,
Now?
I just say, yeah.
But cinnamon? Little cinnamon?
Cinnamon Jr.,
Are
Taco,
you cinnamon,
Bunny.
Who's Cinnamon Senior?
It's like Kanye West. Always like naming, naming those those
The
kids.
kid's
like,
gonna grow up not to
White,
know what the fuck
West.
his name is.
Yeah. My favorite word that
Who's
Wilson
Cinnamon
ever
Senior?
me because I'm spicy. The
I'm spicy.
my favorite word that Wilson ever said that I had to decipher was leopard.
Like a leopard?
He said, He's like, I don't like that motherfucker because his head looks like a leopard. And I'm like,
Leopard?
and I go, a leopard? And you go, yeah, a leopard. And I'm like, you mean a leopard? And you're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh.
But if you look at guys like Wilson and Popo, like they went from speaking no language to speaking the language incredibly well.
Let me tell you a
Right?
little funny story
I
about
tried-
Wilson
hold
and
on.
his English.
I tried to learn Portuguese through an app, and I was trying to have a conversation with him today, and he's like, "What the fuck are you saying?" I said, "I got this app. It's teaching me how to speak Portuguese." He's like, "You got ripped off."
Maybe you should do it like Popo and just listen to Portuguese music.
No, the way to do it,
Now he listens to American
I know.
TV shows.
you get children's books and you watch children's cartoons. That's how you learn it because they break down things very basically, and that's how you learn it.
Is that how you did it?
Yeah, that's how I learned. But I had pretty good Portuguese when I was at Wilson, actually.
No, I'm talking about how you learned English.
How have we learned it?
TV,
Well,
talk
with
with them.
TV, and we put Post-it notes up on everything.
Yeah,
Remember that? We
yeah.
put Post-it notes up on everything. Wilson first got here, and he was here for a little bit, and he went away. And then we picked him up in Newark Airport. And Wilson, as you can see, is chocolate-coated. He'll melt in your mouth, not in your hands. He decides to yell from one end of Newark International Airport to me.
And
Hoffa, he goes, "I'm here, my nigga." And
Oh,
and
shit.
I'm like,
Yup, the N-word hard.
and hard, and I'm like, Wilson, and he's like, "What I say?" I was like, "You basically said in English, basically the equivalent in what in Portuguese would be "Eso de que preto porra," and he's like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's bad." Like,
That's not a good thing to say in any language.
no. So we get off the plane.
But in Brazil, it's cool because in Brazil you can say
When the guy was black.
As long as you even know the person. If you don't know the person, man, hands up.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
even if the guy is black.
Yeah, no matter what.
So we meet up with Jared and some of the boys, and we're getting breakfast. And I immediately just start making fun of him because the waitress is talking, and he's like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "He's hard of hearing. He can't hear." So she looks at his ears, and for the rest of the time we're eating, she's yelling like, "Would you like more coffee?" I mess with him for months and months and months. Right? He's fighting on pay-per-view one time, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I can't believe I ever made fun of this dude. He would kick the shit
realizing
out.
that he would beat the life out of you.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's whatever. He would. You know what? It probably even wouldn't hurt. They would just wake me up afterwards. What happened?
Be unconscious.
What happened?
But I don't remember what I was gonna say.
But
So let's talk here. So I got a couple questions here because I wasn't expecting you to come in. This is a big surprise.
It's a surprise.
So
And for anybody who's watching, Bullet calls me. He's like, "My car's not working. My lights are doing this, and my car's making this sound." And he goes, "Nah," and he's making all these noises. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So I'm like, I'll come get you.
not exactly.
And I'm like, just so you know, we got a special guest. Who the fuck's special guest? I don't know who this person is. Who is it? No, we didn't talk about this. I'm not comfortable with this. The whole and then I pick him up.
Why did you tell him? Why'd you even tell him?
Because he was gonna wonder whose car was outside, and then he wouldn't even come in. But the reason I let him know is because he was gonna get a haircut earlier today, and he drove there and he found out that they closed the doors, closed shop, and moved away. And they didn't tell him, right?
They didn't tell him.
They didn't tell him, right? So he shows up, and I said, "Why don't you just go to that barber shop?"
Yeah, I'm gonna walk into a barber shop that I've never been in before. Like, that's ridiculous.
Do you find that odd?
No.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, fucking
Motherfucker,
man.
you don't have
Yes.
anything. You're out of here. You're out of this conversation.
Like,
Hey, man, I had a mustache. I had to walk there fucking sell.
Would you go to a restaurant by yourself?
no.
Would you go to a restaurant by yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do it in a second. I don't even think twice about it. If I'm hungry, I get some food.
First of all, look,
Where'd you eat today?
I had food delivered through Grubhub, so I didn't even have to talk to them.
That's so strange.
So when you were talking about trying to talk about this relationship, if people don't know your relationship with Wilson and their relationship, I mean, it's pretty interesting.
What do you mean?
The fact that they room together,
Right.
I mean, that's pretty interesting. If people don't know that.
Oh, sure.
That's pretty cool to talk
Yeah,
about.
they were roommates for a while. And
3 years, Wilson.
Was he this
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
strange when you guys were
I
roommates?
was always a little strange.
Yeah, always, yeah.
But you didn't like
It never changed much.
like you like
He was a little skinnier.
he's in a bulking phase right
Yeah.
now. So, but you never know. Like you're coming from another country and immediately you're moving in with this dude because
Hey, man,
Jared
it
said you should move with
It
him.
was the best that ever happened to me.
Right,
man.
but you never said to yourself like
Good times.
when this dude's cutting his nuts with your beard
I didn't
trimmer,
do that. That was a joke.
Like you're like, what the fuck is up with this guy? Like,
no, here's the real story. Wilson was on the couch, and a lot of people wouldn't believe this, but I was a bit of a cocksman in my earlier days. There was like,
Hold on. You know what? I'm going to call out on this because he's always talking about like him being a big player.
Yeah.
Did he bring a lot of girls back to the place?
Hey man, I cannot lie, bro. He actually did.
Really?
He actually did. Surprising, but he did.
Were they unconscious?
Were they unconscious?
no, but here's the story.
Yeah, tell you what, man. They were like, what surprised me the most was that it was like a just different kind. You know, today was one white, next day was black, next day was
It
Asian.
didn't matter to him.
It didn't matter.
He's open to everything.
But tell you what, they have a nice body.
So here's the deal.
Okay.
He had something, I don't know what was it, but
But like, here's the thing. I would always be like,
Because he tells us about it all the time, and I don't fucking believe him when he says it.
It would be like this. I'd be like, yeah, look, don't make any noise when you come in because I got my buddy sleeping on the couch. And like sometimes I'd be like, look, I got my attack. I got my attack. I got my attack buddy sitting on the couch. Like, and the best time.
Wilson's on a chain and he
the
runs to
best-
the end of the living room. His feet get kicked out.
The best time ever was there was this one time when Abu Dhabi was in Trenton, and that's like
That was fucking
that's
awesome.
like the Olympics of like
Abu
submission
Dhabi was
wrestling.
in Trenton?
Yeah, that's before you were training.
ADCC 2007, motherfucker.
Motherfucker! Bang! Bang! Right?
Right.
So I had like 7 or 8 like elite of the elite sleeping in my apartment, right? I'm like, can you imagine if some dumb motherfucker comes to
Breaks
this
in your
door
house.
and
Oh.
looked for trouble? I mean, it would be insane.
It would be a mess.
Dude, it was the most insane shit.
Do you live by yourself now?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so you don't have
But
any
it was
fighters that are roommates.
such good fucking times,
There's
man.
always some some pro MMA guy or black belt at the house.
There's
You know?
always
Okay,
some
yeah.
Have to be
crazy
black
level.
belt. Have to be black belt. You know what I mean?
What's that?
How about you two?
How about us two? What?
Your relationship with Wilson.
He was my professor forever, and I picked him up at the train station every day.
Every
I'm
day.
just for
You were his
people-
bitch.
8:50 every day.
Here's how the
I'm just
conversation.
saying for people that don't know.
Here's
You
how
were his bitch.
every conversation started with Wilson when I picked him up at the train. He'd get in the car and we'd start talking, and I would just sit there. I'd be like, seatbelt. Because he wouldn't put his seatbelt on.
Save it
I'm like,
first,
safety
bro.
first. Do you wear your seatbelt now?
Every day.
I will take full credit for that. But I would pick Wilson up at the train every day, so it's like a 5-10 minute ride. But I those were some of the best times, like
Yeah,
just
man.
driving back and forth to the train
Always
station.
after train, you go to 7-Eleven.
Yeah,
coffee,
yeah. We would take
get
you
my
and
sandwich, my best hamburger. I always buy at the 7-Eleven.
yeah, we would drive to the 7-Eleven down in Pendel, and I would walk in with him and his brother Jilson, and he would get the microwave.
Nobody ever believed me that you had a twin brother named Jilson.
He would get the
Never.
microwavable hamburger, like
Love
in the
potato.
plastic,
Ah,
and he fucking
with mayo,
loved it.
With mayo. It's so
With
good.
mayo,
So
and then
good.
and what did Dilson got something the same thing every
He's got
time
like a
too.
breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, he got like a
eggs
breakfast sandwich every
How's
time.
Wagner doing?
Doing good.
He's
man.
doing good?
He just had his first baby.
Oh,
His
nice.
wife did, but
His vagina's killing him.
Well, it is Brazil. They probably came up with some wild shit there.
But we would drive to 7-Eleven like every time after class, and it would be
Yeah.
the same thing. Walk in,
No,
Talk
they
to the girl at
still-
the counter.
Still have the girl's cool, man. I still
Mu-
remember her.
microwave a hamburger, stand around laughing
Fuck
while
up,
it's
this
getting
fucking
cooking,
diet.
and then drop him off the train station while he's eating his hamburger.
and back then, was that like you'd grab a hamburger and it just said like a number 4 and you just put it in, you hit the number?
Yeah. You just
Yeah,
hit the
the
number.
number,
Yeah,
and it-
Put
they
the
still do
microwave,
those.
They still?
Yeah,
I don't remember last time I saw a microwave in there.
Yeah.
there's one in the Langhorne one.
Is it really?
Yeah,
You
but
know-
there's only one guy that orders microwavable hamburgers, and he was single-handedly
Every day,
keeping them in
every day.
business.
Probably.
Yeah.
And
Probably.
then the most impressive thing is, like when you're a fighter and then you fight pro, people always ask, hey man, like, especially me being lightweight.
What do you eat?
Like, what is your diet? I was always like,
7-Eleven
And
hamburger.
I'll think for a second. Yeah, man, I eat everything organic and
But-
no egg white.
There was a streak.
They'll never believe it.
There was a streak for a while.
Disgraceful.
Like I think Popo was on it, and I think you were on it too, where you guys were just posting pictures of your food like a couple years ago. Like Popo was eating like 8 to 10 hot dogs a day.
Yeah.
Like he was
shit.
just a shitload of hot dogs, and then he was eating them too, and just awful stuff. But
Disgraceful.
it's like the best shape for
But
people.
they-
Like
You
if I were.
like 6-pack beating everybody
Yeah,
up.
like if I was following your diet, like at the time, I'd be probably like have heart disease now.
I'm following his diet now.
You're killing it.
Are you still doing yoga?
Yeah, I had to take them. I can barely walk some days, so I had to take some time off, which is why I'm putting on a couple pounds.
Hey man, I love yoga, man. I've been yoga
Is there a lot of
since
walking in
Diego.
yoga?
No, there's a lot of walking in my 9-hour workday. Fuckface.
Yeah, but I
I'm
guess there's a
just-
lot.
you
There's a
said-
lot. There's a lot of balance. So if you're like,
It just, dude. It's been bad for like the past like 3 weeks.
how about the bike?
No, it's just, and it's like a time thing. I've been.
You got Cinnamon Jr.
Cinnamon Jr.
Yeah, I mean,
You got,
I like. It's like, well, what happens is I'll go to work. I'll get done work. I go right and get him. I'm either hanging at his house or he's coming over mine, and I'll get home.
Wait, he's got his own house?
Yeah, and like I get home around like.
You drive? No.
Yeah, right. They grow up so fast, right? Yeah. But like I'll get home like around like 8:39. I'm like so fucking tired and I'm hurting so bad by the end of the day. It's just like, fuck it. I'm gonna go right to bed.
Do you think some of it's mental or it's just fully physical? No, I'm just curious because like sometimes like I'll show up to class in the morning and my body hurts and I'm like I don't want to make it through the warm up.
It's a little different though.
No, I'm just saying like do you have to will yourself through it?
I think it's pain. It's I know the difference between I'm tired, I don't want to do it versus I'm in a lot of pain. And it's just.
You said you also had a shitty day today. What was the deal with that?
Well, I went to go get my hair cut, and they fucking closed. And then and
God forbid you can't go to another haircut place.
Let me tell you about this first.
He apparently researched the last place for like 2 months.
He's
got pictures all over the.
I went 3 times to the place and sat in the parking lot, and then just went home.
Oh, Jesus!
How crazy is that? Like you just fucking like you can't just walk into some place and like you own the room.
No.
Like, I have such a tough time. Like when you walk in a place, right? You're completely comfortable. Like there's nothing that goes through your head like I shouldn't walk in here, right? If it's just a normal place, right? You walk in like you own it.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Whatever I go, like I own it. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I do the same thing. Like if you walk into a place, you're like, I belong here.
Wilson Hayes, motherfucker.
No, you're not.
Show me the money, bitch.
Hold on, no, you're not. You're Wilson fucking Hayes.
So,
oh shit.
Here's a couple questions because like a lot of people, we're actually very lucky because a lot of people like they're fighting on local levels or smaller levels or middle levels. You fought at the highest of levels.
But I came from the lower.
No, I know that.
When you were at the lower levels, would you walk into any barbershop?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking A right.
And look what happened to his head.
No, but
you can't just walk into anyone.
But it's actually for me surprising to hear that from Bullet because Bullet used to go to the fucking. Remember where we used to go the barbershop? The guy was so cool, man. From BJ United.
Yeah.
The Duke.
Yeah, but we know him. We know him. We know him.
And he walked like a fucking man.
Right, and now
what happened to him?
Yeah, what happened?
Hey man, something happened.
You had your man card pulled.
I'm not around my people. Like I'm not around my people.
He lost the confidence.
But we talk about stuff like he won't go grocery shopping.
I get my groceries delivered.
You got panic
yeah.
attack?
Yeah, all the time.
He gets his groceries delivered on Saturdays. And he hides behind the window until the guy's gone.
I don't want to talk to him.
And like,
fuck out of here.
like two or 3 weeks ago, they had their timing off and they actually met at the door, him and the guy.
The fucking worst.
And it was like the worst fucking thing for him.
It was the worst. I had to fake an accent and pretend I was not from this country.
It's very easy because he lived with me. He lived with like,
He's pretending he's Portuguese.
Yeah.
Brazilian.
He does a pretty good Australian now too.
Good day.
Just so you know, Chris, there's a difference between Portuguese and Brazilian. I'm from Brazil, you know.
Right, but you speak Portuguese.
Yes.
That's what I said. He had Portuguese accent.
You don't say Portuguese.
You say Brazilian Portuguese.
Brazilian accent.
Dude,
I gotta say Brazilian Portuguese.
No, Brazilian accent.
Yeah.
It looks like
Brazilian
he's about to
accent.
kill you.
You can say Portuguese, Brazilian, whatever.
Let's rewind it for a second.
But you have to put the word Brazilian first.
All right.
I apologize for my white friend.
So he said it like he's got a Brazilian accent.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. So it's what was the most. Because, I mean, they talk about, like, UFC jitters and being on the big card, and obviously you've been on bigger cards before. Is that a real thing, UFC jitters?
This dude naps before his fights.
No, I don't nap. Like when I'm like no at the arena, but before, yes.
Right.
But for me, for me, every fight, I fought like in Croydon.
Yeah.
Fought like in Trenton, like all over, like in Glasgow. So, man, you get nervous, but it's funny because for me, at least, the bigger the stage, the bigger the show, like the less pressure I get, you know.
Because you're a person that thrives under pressure.
For me, I'm just built for the big stage, you know.
Was that something that was always there, or is that something that you build up over time?
Like before I interrupt you, I was going to say something.
You son of a bitch with your Brazilian accent.
So
wow.
I was going to say that the opposite of the big stage, right?
Right.
Remember when I fought here, in Philly, I have local fights.
I remember.
And that was the worst.
Because a lot of people know you too.
My worst performance. If you look, the fight I was supposed to knock the guy out, submitted him in first round.
Right.
It was a 3-5 round war. It was locally, And then I have fought bigger shows before. So for me, I think I just relax more, man. I just
Is there something you mentally do that you could impart onto our good friend
Not
Bullet
really.
here that would help him to go into a supermarket?
Hey, man, I don't know.
So right now he gets
some sort of magical advice you could give him?
The fight guy goes soul searching.
So Bullet gets nervous going into like a Wawa.
What's the most?
He's
what's
comfortable in a Giant.
What was the most surprising thing about being at the big show? Not like nervous or like what? What's like one of the things that you're like, wow, I never.
No, for me, like one thing. I don't know if I answer your question, but when I was walking out for my UFC debut, which I was so nervous, I said, "Fuck, man, I'm gonna shit my pants." Walk to the UFC, And that was in Toronto, 2013. And then, as I walk, I just impressed that I wasn't feeling anything. I said, "Man, something's wrong. That's my life." I'm like,
wait, you weren't feeling anything?
I wasn't. No, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't feeling where I thought I was gonna feel.
Your blood wasn't pumping.
As I walked into the cage, I was like talking to myself. I said, "Man, like, is everything right?"
You were questioning.
I was questioning myself.
Right.
Because I was so relaxed and not feeling.
You were too relaxed.
But you were where you should have been.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
But then I was just like nervous because I wasn't nervous.
You were nervous about
so
not
a
getting
vicious
nervous.
circle just starts.
About that, I wasn't nervous. I said, "Fuck, man. Like, what about all these jitters that people talk about and everything?
Right.
I don't feel shit."
But you won that fight, right?
Fuck, man, it's my night. Let's go.
You won your first fight in the UFC,
did,
yeah.
Against a fucking very top, fighter.
Yeah.
I have a major fight, yeah.
Very well traveled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fought a lot of guys. Fought in a lot of weight classes.
That, man, that taught me a lot. I say, man, like, doesn't matter where and who, like, you fire in, man. You just have to talk to yourself and just fucking go to war.
Outside of the cage, where you're extremely skilled and in training and stuff, is there ever like social environments you don't feel comfortable going into?
Not really.
Okay, so you're confident. Bullet's making a face.
Man.
Bet you wouldn't feel comfortable at a Donald Trump rally.
Not really. I have a good confidence.
No, I'm just saying like everyday stuff. Like you won't go food shopping. He won't do a lot of basic stuff that normal
won't interact
people
with people.
Which is surprising. Because Bullet's a people.
He's a personable guy.
Yeah.
But I can get a guitar and sing a song.
Yeah.
That's not the cue to sing the song, is it?
No.
He's a people's champion.
I could sing a song, just any random song. We were going to sing a song until Wilson came on, and then we decided not to do it.
Look at me.
What song?
Todd. We were going to sing a Sinead O'Connor song for Chris.
But
that he would
they
sing to
changed it.
himself.
You know what? Sing it.
So sing it.
Pull out
please.
your guitar. Todd will sing it with you. I was just going to stand here and just bathe in the song directed towards me.
We don't have to sing it. We don't have to. Here's the guitar. We were just going to play this guitar, and Wilson was going to text. That was going to be the show.
Please tell me you at least have your brightness turned up on your phone these days. This dude's got his. He texts so much he's got to keep it almost at zero.
It looks pretty low. It looks pretty low.
I have to wait a couple minutes. Just to let you guys know.
Yeah, what do you have to do?
I got like emergency. I have to go.
Is everything all right?
Yeah.
Let me see. I can wonder what that fucking emergency
I know what that.
is.
Can we say on the air what it is?
No.
No.
Well, let's take a quick break while we're
All
doing
right,
some setup.
let's not do the song because he's only got a few more minutes.
Okay.
And we'll talk about the upcoming UFC card this weekend. Right? There's one on Saturday on Fox Sports 1. Todd, can you look it up?
I will.
And then Wilson's got his 911 he's got to get to.
Emergency.
Dude, I can't blame you. You just took your unplugged your headphones.
How about the fights this past weekend?
Yeah, who was on the card this last
Poirier
weekend?
and Pettis. Did you watch that, Wilson?
Yes.
That was a great.
Do you think it's a mental or physical thing with Pettis?
Man, I don't think it's nothing to do with anybody that fought Poirier. I think Poirier is.
Poirier's good.
He's a tough dude.
Ever since
Like everybody that.
You just took over mine. Thank you.
Something like everybody that do really well against Eddie Alvarez impressed me is because I trained and I been around Eddie so much, and for me Eddie one of the most well-rounded fighters around, and I think Poirier was fucking doing so good against Eddie. I just couldn't believe my eyes. It's like, fuck, man. Even McGregor, but McGregor is McGregor.
Oh yeah.
But when Dustin Poirier did that to Eddie, and Eddie turned around. But man, when he was beat up, like doing so well versus Eddie, I just said, man, motherfucker's legit,
Yeah, that dude's got some skills.
But he's been doing that, man. If you look at his, that's why I think, man, like, like I change subject a little bit, but like McGregor is so good because the people that he beats, they're the people that beats everybody, For example, like he made Poirier look like fucking nothing, and Poirier is a fucking beast.
Yeah,
he made Holloway look nothing.
Yeah,
he beat Holloway with a fucking ACL, a torn ACL.
Do you think McGregor made Poirier better?
Yes,
without a doubt.
He inspired him to train harder.
He made Holloway better as well.
Yeah, like those guys have excelled incredibly. Yeah, you can. What do you mean?
There's only a couple.
For this weekend?
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about last weekend. You said there was a couple good fights.
Oh, last weekend there was I thought most of the card was great.
Yeah, who else is on the fucking card? Like, he's got one job, Wilson.
Ooh.
Todd. He's fucking dropping the ball.
Fucking it up.
The dude can fact check you in a second if you say something he doesn't believe. Like if you
is that coming through?
Yeah, it's loud. If you said, hey,
loud.
Loud. All right, I'll go through them. All right.
It's loud.
The Matt Brown, Diego Sanchez fight.
Man, fucking awesome, man.
Did you see these fights, Chris?
I didn't.
Who won the fight? I was kidding.
Matt Brown. That was a fucking vicious elbow.
Hey, man,
I think Diego's done.
Fucking Matt Brown is a fucking beast.
Do you think he's gonna retire?
Who?
Matt Brown. Because they were talking about like maybe he was retiring.
That was supposed to be his last fight. But he said the training camp was so good.
When you crush a dude like that, that's gotta change your whole opinion.
I believe in like the fighters, like like I'm the type of guy that like if you're gonna retire, that doesn't matter you retire with the win or the loss. When you start, I think when you say same thing that people always say to me, man, I feel old. Man, if you feel old because you're fucking old, Yeah. If you say I'm gonna retire, you should retire.
Right, if that's a mindset.
That's my way of to think,
Right.
For me, like, man, I carry myself, I live my day like, I'm going to do something. If I say I'm going to do something, I better do it,
Sure.
Or because something's telling me to do it,
Right.
So, but I think Matt Brown had such a successful career, but kind of like a roller coaster career. Yeah. And then
he's fought at the top level for a while.
He even got so close to get a title shot, So, and he coming off such a good win. But the guy's a veteran as well, So, hey, man, like if you wanna call it quits, man, he done so well already.
Yeah, I like to see guys go out on top. Like you see guys like Ken Shamrock, who's still fighting in like mid-50s.
Well, that's because of money.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Like it's hard to walk away from some of the money.
I think some of the fighters, I don't think even the money. Some of the fighters that hang around too long, they're not even make that kind of money,
Right.
I think it's just the fact. Like,
it's their identity.
Training,
that's who they are. Yeah.
That's what I think, and that's what I call myself. I'm like 32 now, and I'm like probably retire. Like who knows? In
a couple years, right?
Or like by 40s, because for me, at the end of the day, if I can leave, if I can train every day, I won't retire.
But you're also one of those guys who's highly skilled, and let's say you get out of MMA, you'll still have a career in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
right. Like you're gonna be around a long time, no matter what.
As far as the professional level goes, like for me, it's just a matter of you be able to train, be able to follow a game plan, to be able to finish like a 9-week training camp. The moment I struggle to do that, they say, man, it's moment to hang up.
Time to move on to something else.
Yeah, but then like sometimes some people you can tell. They're way too long, They should retire.
They're just gonna keep going.
A couple fights ago, and then they didn't.
Or dudes that are getting knocked out all the time.
I think the worst thing is just the crowd or the event retire you.
Yes. Yeah.
That's somebody he fought this weekend. Who I thought was on the edge of retirement was Andrei Arlovski. And he won against that junior.
Andrei Arlovski is hard to say, man.
It's hard to say. He's up and down too.
Yeah, he's up and down, man. But Arlovski has the same work ethic than Vitor Belfort. People always say Vitor Belfort loses, man, he should retire. Man, Vitor Belfort loves to train. But the guy loves to train. He trains every day. So I think the moment that you don't want to do it anymore, you don't feel doing it
when the training becomes a job.
Yeah, exactly. But Vitor Belfort, man, the guy doesn't need he's
got money.
He got money,
right?
And he got beautiful family and everything. So he could retire 5 years ago, man.
Sure.
He's probably the They got to be fighting UFC for the longest.
But he's still got a fighting spirit. And one of the things that Todd and I talk about, and actually Bull talks about too, is like you see these guys that kind of get past their age where they're not a top competitor anymore, but they're still a great fighter. Like we've always talked about like having a masters division. Like you got guys like guys that are kind of like that were like high profile guys, but you put them in fights against other high profile guys that are kind of over like. They're not top competitors anymore.
Style make fights too, man.
Right. I don't want to see Shogun Hua fight a young, upcoming guy who's 10 times faster than him and makes him look silly at times.
Shogun for me is a rare case because he's not old. Like how old is Shogun? 36.
His body's old. His body's old.
They're all city. They're all city miles on him. They're not highway miles.
I take it back. It doesn't look bad, man. But the guy from Fought Pride days, man. Everybody that fought Pride. They gotta fucking beat their bodies and fucking beat up.
Yeah, they're a mess.
I think my
I would have loved to see.
I have very few like I think in MMA have like one or two idols, but one of them is Rodrigo Minotauro, because how good he used the jiu-jitsu, in MMA, And then man, you look to the fights that he had in Pride, man. That took
some battles.
Took a huge toll on his body,
I was the guy that got me to do jiu-jitsu.
When he made to UFC. And man, unfortunately, like his body was so beat up, so many surgeries.
Still got a belt,
but I still want to.
Still got a belt, yeah.
But that's the thing. I think
how good he is.
Wilson, we still want to see him fight. We just don't want to see him fight. I'd rather see him fight somebody in his
his category because it's still a good fight.
But there's a fucking what a good example of retiring. It was like Dan Henderson,
Yeah.
Did they fought for? No, he lost, right? But
to Bisping.
Yeah.
But he still, man, fucking beat Hector Lombard. That was that was an epic fight, man.
What a backhand.
He could have retired that fight, but I say there's nothing wrong to make another $500,000 or like $1 million.
No. Yeah, like it's tough. Like how do you turn down $500,000 if like it's just one more reason why you're set?
But everybody was so happy. He made his retirement on that fight. Whatever happened after that fight, nobody cared.
Right, yeah. Nobody cared.
And he didn't embarrass himself against Bisping.
Oh, he didn't? No.
No.
He almost knocked him out a couple times.
Yeah.
Hell, the other great fight. Crowd chant for him. In Bisping's hometown, he had that crowd chant for him.
The other good fight this weekend was the Rafael Assunção.
Yeah.
How do you say his name,
I'm happy.
Rafael Assunção.
Not bad.
He's getting better.
Assunção, he did pretty good.
He's got a Brazilian accent.
The word
it's more Portuguese.
The word that was easy, he said kind of like little the accent. The hardest, he made it easy. Rafael is not hard.
No.
He made it hard.
Yeah.
Assunção is hard. He made it easy. He did good.
He's got some skills. He's got some skills.
That was a heck of a fight.
Yeah.
Who's on the card this weekend?
All right.
I got one teammate, Becky
Rawlings.
Becky Rawlings.
Oh, you train with her?
Yeah, I train with her. Alliance, she's from Australia, but she comes to Alliance to do her camp.
Throw another shrimp on the Barbie.
Motherfucker.
She's fighting
is she good?
Jessica Rose Clark, which I don't know anything about.
But I think her original opponent got hurt, so she got like a replacement. And man, Beck's fucking gangster.
Is she the only one that you train with that's on the card?
And then her first fight, 125. I think she just created this weight class in UFC. She's 115. She's struggled to make weight, and I'm very excited about her.
So she's moving up.
She's moving up.
She got a fantastic.
So what weight classes are in the? She got what?
She has a fantastic hiney.
Hiney?
Like a butt.
Her butt. Look how uncomfortable he is when he says it too. Say it again.
She is very fantastic because she might beat me up if she's listening.
So what are the weight classes for the females right now? They got 115,
she would
125's new, 135, 145. Right?
I'd be cooking her eggs and breakfast.
For women, 115, 125, and 135, and 140. Yeah, 125 and 145 is new. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
nobody's taking that belt off Cybergia.
No.
Never.
Who else, Todd?
Who?
It's a lot of
Cybergia.
You know what? An interesting fight. Ellis Teodoro, the Canadian kid.
Elias Theodoro.
He's
I like that dude. He's a good fighter.
He looks like Tarzan. What the heck?
Yeah, he does.
But he's fighting a guy. He's fighting a guy that every time you watch, you're like, how does he win? Daniel Kelly, that Australian older guy.
I like that guy. He's the judo guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He just he seems to just.
He got fucked up by somebody.
Yeah,
who was it?
Yeah, but he always comes back.
He always comes back.
The last one he got. The
wrapped. Brazilian guy, I think, submitted him, right? The Brazilian guy.
Yeah. It was a quick fight, his last one.
Who's the Brazilian kid that beat the shit out of Hendricks last fight?
Costa. Paulo Costa.
I don't know.
Oh.
The dude's like 6'2" and all muscle, and he was beating up on Johnny Hendricks. He was just a little fat kid.
Oh no, but yeah.
Paulo Costa.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
His nickname is Borrachinha, which is like a little rubber. It makes no sense.
A little rubber?
Yeah.
Oh.
Borrachinha, his nickname. Maybe
because he's
too,
probably have them busting rubbers on.
If you meet a chick,
busting rubbers.
That's why.
If you meet a chick and you tell her your nickname's Little Rubber,
what the fuck is a beast?
Yeah, that dude's a fucking animal.
Fucking beast.
He looked like some fucking high school kid beating up his girlfriend's dad.
Yeah.
Who's the main event on the card this weekend?
What I was most impressed about him, they said, man, with that much muscle,
he just keeps going.
Tired.
Yeah, he never got tired.
And then, man, to embarrass Hendricks. Man, everybody saw Hendricks at his prime. Hendricks is a fucking gangster.
Yeah, but prior to
there's always
the USADA.
Do you train with any guys that are just
Hendricks hasn't looked better?
Do you train with any guys that are freaks, cardio freaks that just
talk about one fighter, the only guy stronger, and the guy like stronger. Who the fuck was USADA? Wilson Hayes. Hey man, this guy's stronger.
Do you train with any guys that are just freaks like cardio wise, like? Because you're a freak cardio wise, like when he was home a couple weeks ago, we rolled for like 10 minutes, and the dude was still normal at the end of it.
Dominic Cruz,
Phil Davis, because he's such a big guy and he doesn't get tired.
Phil is a fucking animal.
He just won. He just won his fight in front of his home Penn State crowd.
Yeah.
Penn State crowd.
Who's the main event on the card this weekend?
Fabricio Verdum versus Marcin Tibera.
Yeah, Fabricio is definitely the favorite, you know.
Oh, he's got to be.
Yeah, did you see he threw a boomerang at the guy?
Something happened
this week.
Did he hit him?
And as soon as I saw it, I'm like,
oh, it's the fucking guy that was saying so much shit about the Brazilians in Brazil.
Oh.
When he went to Brazil, the guy Colby
Covington.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's who he threw a boomerang at.
So he had a boomerang like in a bag.
Yeah.
And he threw
like a real boomerang.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Like
you
everybody
take somebody's head off.
Every Brazilian is feeling so bad, so insulted about him. You know, like
what did he say about Brazil?
Oh, he was an asshole after the fight.
Asshole. You know, like let's go back to who was the guy that fought Anderson Silva? He always talk shit about Brazil.
Chael Sonnen.
Yeah.
But Chael had a limit. This guy went above the limit. This guy was.
What
racist.
did he say?
He called them all savages.
Man, he talked about the worst thing. But then, for me, was the most impressive that he was talking all this shit. Not like Shell was here talking all this shit. He was there.
Oh, yeah, he's in the town talking.
So somehow he had some type of security that he knew that he was gonna make alive. Well, I don't know. Maybe UFC will make sure that he made alive.
Yeah, like that guy's a loudmouth in general. They know he's gonna
but
fucking.
Everybody feels so offended about him, and then I think then obviously as a man's rules as a human. What Fabrizio did to approach another man on the streets, definitely wrong, you know.
Right.
But being
a Brazilian,
being a Brazilian, no, like if the guy not saying anything to you and you go after the guy, that's wrong, you know. And then the guy didn't say anything to him, but Fabrizio felt so offended about the guy, he won't say anything. Why?
And it was a shame.
But here's the thing.
It was a shame. He did such a great fight against Damian Maia, who I thought was gonna be a bigger problem.
Brazil supports like.
But
every
he called him filthy animals.
Here's
the
thing.
Brazil, you're a dump. And this was all after. I mean, there was no reason for that.
Did Fabricio throw the boomerang out on the street?
No. It was just a couple days ago. They were in a press conference.
I'm gonna go out here and go a little old school. Back in the day in Pride, there was a guy named Alex Stiebling, whose nickname was the Brazilian Killer, and he talked all this shit. And then they had a guy from Shootbox who they dug up, who was Pele's protege.
Right, we're gonna wrap up in 2 seconds. How
named
about that?
Anderson Silva. And Anderson Silva, remember the flying knee in Pride?
Fucking wrecked him.
Destroyed him. It was Anderson Silva's first.
Who?
Alex Stiebling. He was a guy named the Brazilian Killer, and he talked all this shit. And
too, man. No, he was the Gracie.
Sakuraba.
And that was Anderson's first fight that I ever saw in Pride.
Well, Wilson's got to go, so we're gonna wrap this show up.
Oh, that's great. I'm not gonna play my song.
I'm super.
Well, you know what? Maybe Wilson could say goodbye and we'll keep going.
That's cool.
In America, you say?
He doesn't want to do it.
We're gonna close it.
Why not? What time is it? It's 10:15. We're an hour and 15 minutes into it. Why not? Fuck it. We'll sing the song next week, or we'll do a side song. We'll do a video with the song.
We're not gonna do it next week.
Why?
No, we'll do the video. We'll come back down and do the video after Wilson leaves.
Probably not.
Yeah,
I think we will.
You may have to go. It
right,
was a pleasure, man. Love you guys. Thanks so much.
Love you.
It was awesome.
See you, buddy.
See you, boys.